favorite, and that would be 8-tracks. I guess I have never used one. I've never seen an 8-track player because 8-tracks were so short-lived. I'm curious to know, does anyone collect 8-tracks? I am genuinely curious because I don't know anyone who does. I don't know anyone who owns an 8-track player or 8-tracks. So I just want to know, do you collect 8-tracks? I will respond to you in the comments if you genuinely collect 8-tracks or know someone. I want to hear stories.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
There's an old man.
Alright, so the neighbors responded, and they responded big. Alright, first matter of business. Not an 8-track player, they say. That's cool, but does it work? Yes, it works great. Just swimmingly. Also, I got this cool briefcase that holds my 8-tracks. So you see, it's kind of beat up. It's got tear and it's kind of rusty on the hinges, but there are tons of 8-tracks in here, and there's still more in another tote. It's rusty. So you could walk in like, so you may ask, why did the neighbors give you a bunch of 8-tracks and an 8-track player that's $170 on eBay for free? And I'll tell you, well, A, they didn't want it, and B, actually this is a funny story. So essentially, my neighbors have children about my age, right? And I used to talk to them quite a bit. I don't talk to them very much anymore. But apparently they watch my videos, and they watch the one about how I ranked formats of different music formats. And I ranked 8-tracks 4th out of 4. And then I ranked it 8-tracks, cassettes, CDs, and vinyl, right? And they got personally offended by this. No, I'm kidding. They didn't get personally offended. However, they were like, let's give the youth what he wants! So essentially, my friends, they watched my video to the end, and they saw the part where I asked, who uses 8-tracks? As you saw in the beginning of the video, right? And they told their parents about this, and they got a hold of my parents one night, and were like, excuse me, sir, ma'am, can your son get this 8-track player? So of course they said yes. Later that night, keep in mind, it's raining outside, it's like pouring, right? Later that night, we hear a knock on the door. They're like, bang, bang, bang. I go out, and my parents are like, go out there. Because at this point, my parents told me that the neighbors had something for me. All they told me is that it's some sort of stereo equipment. All I knew, right? And I was, for some reason, I was expecting, like, an entire second receiver, because I've already got a receiver from the 90s. For some reason, I was expecting a 90s receiver, like a second one. I don't know why. I don't have any use for a second receiver. I'm not going to turn it down if someone gives it to me for free. I'll probably put it to use, but, like, that's just what I was expecting for whatever reason. I was not expecting an 8-track player and display for them, although the display's broken. We need to fix it. And, like, 60, 70 tapes. Just not what I was expecting on my Tuesday afternoon. Okay, to be fair, I'm pretty sure it was a Monday, and I'm pretty sure it was like 10 o'clock at night, so it wasn't really the afternoon. It definitely wasn't Tuesday. So you may be like, okay, you imbecilic fool. If you got this many tapes, did you get anything good? Did you get any good tapes? Did you get anything good? Yeah, I did. Look who's laughing now! Alright, you hooligan. If you're questioning what I got, you can see. You know it's a heavy briefcase when it shakes the bed. Bomb just goes off after I open the suitcase. Alright, so first and foremost, these tapes were crusty. I had to clean them. But after I did clean them, we have 2 different Foreigner tapes. We've got Double Vision, we've got Head Games. I haven't tested these yet. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to them. But I'll be excited to listen to them because I've enjoyed Foreigner so far from what I've listened to. We've got literally 2 copies of Fleetwood Mac Rumors, different copies, like different manufacturers. And then we've got a couple Billy Joel albums. We've got 2 copies of The Stranger, like 2 identical copies of The Stranger by Billy Joel. Both right here. Then we've got Piano Man by Billy Joel. We've got Elvis Presley's Frankie and Johnny. Then a couple Creedence Clearwater Revival tape. Pendulum, which is actually a broken tape. And Best Of, Cosmo's Factory, and Bayou Country. Doobie Brothers Minute by Minute, which I've heard is good. AC/DC's Back in Black. Rolling Stones Big Hits Volume 2. The Who's Odds and Sods. Chuck Berry's Golden Decade Volume 2. Elvis's I Got Lucky. Simon and Garfunkel Bridge Over Troubled Water. And notably, if those aren't notable enough for you, which to me some of them are, because I enjoy Elvis's music, despite what you say, like, oh, he's so old, he's irrelevant now. Whatever you say about him, I enjoy his music, and I enjoy Billy Joel's music. I don't know if he's super popular anymore with anybody, actually, but I enjoy his music, and Creedence Clearwater Revival is honestly an amazing band from what I've listened to so far. But all that aside, I got this tape called The Story of Star Wars, which I haven't gotten a chance to listen to this. And I am a Star Wars fan myself. I consider myself a pretty big fan of Star Wars. So I'm questioning what this is. I believe this was released around the time of the original Star Wars movie. And I'm interested in listening to this because I don't know if it's like the soundtrack. I don't know if it's like, because it says original cast with narration. So I have no idea what this could be. I don't know if it's like a story. I don't know if it's like production, backscene, like talking about it. I don't know. I literally couldn't tell you what the heck this is. So I'm just going to make a video on this very soon about it. Set that aside though. So I just told you about a lot of tapes, right? Believe it or not, that's not all of them. Now the other ones I don't really know what they are. I think there's quite a bit of country, which I'm not into country. But keep in mind, this is like old country, like 80s, 70s country. So, there's a bunch of that. So I don't know what some of this stuff is, but I'll probably listen to it at some point. Like, just, slowly go through this, introduce myself to maybe new music that I might like. There's a couple greatest hits in here, like greatest hits albums. There's the Marshall Tucker Band, which I feel like I've heard that name before, possibly. I'll look at it. Here, let's see the label. Let me see if there's anything. Okay, I don't know any of these songs on here, but I'm pretty darn sure this is a country band because it's got a song named This Old Cowboy, which generally is a country thing. And then you've got Kenny Rogers, which I'm pretty sure I've heard about him before. Pretty sure he's a country band, or a country singer. But that's neither here nor there. And then I've got this band, a bunch of 8-tracks of this band named The Ventures. I've never heard of them. My parents have never heard of them. But there's like 4 different tapes in here. Shoot. Oh, I just figured out who this is. I'm 99% sure. You know that one song that everybody knows named Tequila? Which is like purely instrumental, except for like the word tequila being yelled like 3 times within the 4-minute song. Yeah, that's on here, so I'm assuming that's why this is in there, because that's the band who wrote that song. Okay, so it turns out it's just a cover. It's not the actual version. It's just a cover. I'm an idiot. Also, I still don't know who the Ventures are. Well, I'm glad we figured out the mystery. You're probably asking yourself, well, what does the wiring behind this thing look like? I'll show you. Alright, so, in short, these 4 wires right here go to my receiver, which outputs the sound to these 3 beautiful 90s Kenwood speakers. But essentially, these red and white cables are like what you'd see, for example, on the back of a VCR. You know, everyone knows about the red, white, yellow cords, correct? Well, those are called AV cables, most commonly known as AV cables. And you can use those on the back of here, because that's what it takes. It takes these wires, and now you can actually get them just in red and white, so you don't have the yellow hanging off. But it's okay if the yellow is hanging off, because it will still work if it's just the white and the red. So those 4 plugged into the back here. You know, a little janky with the yellow wire hanging off, but it still outputs the sound just fine. And so that is wired into the back of my receiver, this 90s Kenwood receiver. two different eras here, huh? But yeah, this essentially right here. Hold on, let me turn my ceiling fan off because it's making a lot of sound. I'm sure it's getting annoying. But essentially, it's running through this, and it's outputting to its original speakers. Whatever. You get the point. But you're probably wondering, how does it sound? So we're going to pop a tape in. Alright, what do you guys want to listen to? Too bad, you don't get to make this decision. It's my tapes. Let's see. What's just something I've tested before I know it works? We'll go with CCR. Can't go wrong with Creedence. Right, yeah, Creedence Clearwater Revival's greatest hits. And I turned this thing off. I cannot believe how obnoxious the ceiling fan is. But, here you go. 10, 9, 8, 7. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make you wait like that. We're just going to pop it in. For some reason, it's not on the same program as when I took it out. I don't know why it did that, but we got it. We got it working. It didn't have any issues like when I just plugged it in. But right now we're playing Fortunate Son, which is one of CCR's most known songs. It's on program 2, as you can see, which I'll explain that in a minute, how 8-tracks work. But here you go. And this is kind of a sample of how it sounds. But from my experience with this 8-track player, it actually doesn't sound all that bad, which I was expecting it to sound absolutely horrible. Like, it just sounds like garbage, but it actually sounds decent. Now, it could be the receiver I'm running it through, it could be the speakers I'm running it through. You gotta take that with a grain of salt. I think the neighbors were planning on giving me a second 8-track player, because they were like, when they brought this one over, they were like, this isn't even the one we were talking about that we found. So, like, I might be getting a second 8-track player, so if that thing works, I will plug it in, run it through this receiver, and we'll compare the two, see if it's just this player, or if they all just sound like that. Could be the speakers for all I know, that are good. I will probably never know why it sounds this good, but it sounds pretty good in my opinion. I'm not an expert, but I'm also pretty good with, like, my... You know, like, I know good sound quality from bad quality, and my parents and I have both agreed that it sounds way better than we thought it would. Like I said, it doesn't sound amazing. It's definitely not vinyl quality, but, like, I enjoy it. You're probably wondering how on earth 8-tracks work, which is a fair point, because most people today have never even heard of an 8-track. Like, I swear, people from the age range of 30 down probably haven't heard of 8-tracks or experienced them. Like, I hadn't heard of 8-tracks until like a year or two ago. So, you know, they're not super common, and like I said, I barely had ever seen 8-tracks. Never seen an 8-track player until pretty much a couple days ago. So, you know, these things aren't super common. Susie, stop looking at that blanket. Susie's being weird, my cat, because we just gave her like a treat of some sort. Like, it was one of those cat smoothie tube things. Have you ever seen those? Anyway, we just had one, and we got a little bit on my blanket, and I wiped it up, and Susie's like, you know what? There's probably still some on my blanket. Go ahead, Susie, just do whatever. Anyway, but yeah, pretty much haven't really used 8-tracks much. That being said, I'm going to show you how they kind of work. Alright, so for today, my example will be Fleetwood Mac's Rumours. This is just a classic album by Fleetwood Mac, of course. It's pretty much their most famous album, from what I have gathered. It's got a couple hits you might know: Dreams, The Chain, what's that other song called? Go Your Own Way. Right, anyway. So we're just gonna, first we gotta turn the receiver on. Most important part, actually, plays the sound. And we are going to just pop this in so I can make an example of how this works. So first of all, I don't like the sound of that tape. I think that one might be messed up. So I'm going to clean up my other copy of it. Because you see how it sounded distorted? Don't like the sound of that. So I'm going to just forget that one for now. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit more because I don't think I did a well enough job. Alright, my Fleetwood Mac tape is being weird. I don't know what happened. The other one did something weird. The one I use, being really weird. I don't know why. I'll play with that afterward. 8 tracks. Just now realizing the notorious nature behind them. Anyway, got Billy Joel's The Stranger in right now. And this might actually be... No, it's not. But essentially, there's a program button right here. You see how it's on program too? See that? Well, we'll just use this other one because I've got 2 copies of The Stranger because that's just, you know, what was in the box. Let's see. I just got done with the song Vienna, and then there's She's Always a Woman. That's what's playing right now. as you can hear right now. And then, at the end of the song, it's going to switch to program 3 right here. And you can hear it, you know, you'll be able to hear it change programs. It'll click. But you see there's program 1, The Stranger, Just the Way You Are. Program 2, Moving Out, Vienna, She's Always a Woman. Then 3, Only the Good Die Young, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. And then 4, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Conclusion. Get It Right the First Time, and Everybody Has a Dream. You can see how it's going to cycle through these programs, and essentially these programs will play those songs. I don't exactly know why they're split into programs. I think that's just the way it was back in the 60s whenever this was made. But it's essentially going to cycle through those, and essentially the reason they're called 8 tracks is because there's 4 programs and they're stereo tracks, meaning it's playing 2 programs at once. Hence, it's called an 8 track because of the 4 programs that are playing 2 different signals. If that makes any sense to you. It makes sense in my head, but I hope it makes sense in yours. I am confusing myself. Alright, the song is just ending. You can hear it. It's over. Alright. And watch this number and watch and listen for a click. And then there's the next song. So you see, this is the program. You can press this button. It changed the program from 2 to 3, and now it's playing the next song. You press the program button, plays a new song, but you can't rewind it, and on this one, you cannot, like, fast forward either. So, there you have it. That is how an 8-track tape runs through its songs. Pretty interesting, huh? Seems the most complicated for any of the different types of music platforms. However, it has its advantage. You may be asking, what kind of advantages does that even have? It splits songs in half sometimes, it does weird stuff with other songs, it takes forever, it has this weird, scary clicking sound. Well, you see, the tape is looped, because it goes through the 4 programs, cycles through them, cycles back to the first one after the 4th one, meaning it will play endlessly until the tape inevitably burns out one day, but in theory, it will play indefinitely because it's an endless tape. That's like the only advantage of the system. Otherwise, the system's awful. But you can just leave an album in here for ages and let it just play. If you want to listen to the same album again, let it run a second time, even a third time. Nobody's trying to tell you how many times you can listen to Foreigner's Double Vision. Alright, that's just about enough shenanigans for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't got this far, I appreciate that. I don't think there's any more. If there is, I'll post a follow-up. Otherwise, I think that's just about it. About 8 tracks. I'll let you know what's up with that Fleetwood Mac one. It just randomly started sounding like really muffled. I don't know what happened. We'll just see about it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks, my neighbors. Real quick, just one more thing. This started working again. I don't know why it started sounding muffled for a split second. I don't know. But it started working almost as soon as I put it in. So there you go. Thanks.